Hello, and welcome to my podcast, Empowered to Thrive. I'm your host, Corrine Powell. I'm an intuitive guide, and I absolutely love helping people to heal from within so that they can create a life that they love, a life that they enjoy. We weren't meant to just tolerate and get through life. We were meant to thrive and enjoy the life we're living. Of course, we will have seasons and moments that are difficult and challenging. And the beauty of it is that we can be supported in those moments. I am here to be an aid and a guide to support you. And I hope that you will enjoy not only today's episode, but some of the past episodes if you haven't heard them yet. On this podcast, I talk about all things inner wellness. We also sprinkle in some spirituality and parenting, because as a mom to 3 kids, parenting is a big part of my life. I hope that you enjoy the episode and that there's at least one thing you'll pull from it and start to implement into your own life. If you want to follow me in other ways, you can find me on Instagram, Corrine_Change Radically, or on Facebook, Change Radically. Would you do me a favor and share this podcast with your friends if you hear an episode that resonates with you? And would you also go ahead and give me a rating and review my podcast? It would mean so much to me, and I would appreciate it. I hope that you enjoy the episode and that we connect. I want to continue by saying what was innately always a part of me. You also have characteristics and traits about you that are innately a part of who you are and a beautiful part of who you are. So recovering memories is not meant to be a traumatic experience. Granted, when trauma is a part of those memories, as they initially surface, you will feel what you felt during that experience. That's why I'm encouraging you to reach out to me and not to do this alone. I sit with people, whether it's in my office or over Zoom. Either way, you can feel safe sitting with me and walking through the memories with me, with my guidance and my support. I'm here as a coach. I'm not telling you what you have to do. You always have permission to pause or stop the exercise. But you get to feel safe being in an environment with me and in a warm place where you're being cared for and your inner child is being cared for. And so, as you allow the memories to surface and we get to go in and reparent your inner child, and basically we get to speak the loving, kind words that were needed at that time when you experienced the event, but you didn't receive it then. So now we have an opportunity for you to go back and reparent your younger self. It's a beautiful, transformative, healing experience. And I hope it's clear what I'm saying, but if you have any questions, you need some clarification, reach out, email, and however you normally reach me, do that and ask me the questions you have, because if there's anything I want to make sure that you understand and that you get to feel as comfortable about this process and not at all agitated, overwhelmed, or anxious. That's not the goal. The goal is for you to feel safe and known, cared for, and empowered. And what I'm sharing with you, it's what I help people walk through. Transformation comes to the individuals I work with because we focus on what their inner child needs, what their younger self experienced, and what they now want to offer. We're adults. We have something we can offer to the inner child that we once weren't able to offer. I'm able to say to myself, to my inner child, I'm able to say, hey, you're safe. I'm here for you. Little Corrine, you're never going to have to feel alone anymore because I care about you and I see you and I'm right here to help you. So I can walk into a crowded room And I can feel that insecurity bubbling up, and I can realize, oh, that's not my 33-year-old self. It's the little girl. Wow. I can see her in my mind's eye. I can give attention to her. And I can do it in that room, or I can do it after the fact. But becoming aware is super helpful. Knowing that feelings don't just come out of nowhere. When you feel overwhelmed or anxious, you could be having an emotional flashback and triggering to an earlier time in your life where you felt the same sort of way. It's very normal to feel out of control in your body if you have experienced traumas and times when the circumstances around you fell out of control, and if you were a kid and nobody helped you to regulate how you were feeling and how you were doing, then as an adult, when you feel that same sort of way, it's because there's a little kid freaking out. To me, that's normal because I recognize what's going on deeper. Now, I also know it doesn't have to always be that way. What is the norm doesn't mean it has to stay the norm. I just say it's normal because I understand it. It doesn't seem foreign to me. But that's why I love the work I get to do, because I want to help you be able to stand in a room and not feel like you're freaking out and not feel unstable and feel at ease and safe within your body. So sometimes it is pausing and taking those deep breaths. Let's do it right now. Doing several deep breaths helps you. Reminding yourself, ground yourself. If there's something around you, a surface, you can sit down, feel the ground underneath your feet. Remind yourself, hey, if you're safe in that moment and nothing is going on that would cause you to need to be anxious, everything's okay right now, I'm safe right now. Reminding yourself of really what's going on in your present day, because if you are triggered and emotionally flashing back to a time in your past when you had good reason to be overwhelmed, anxious, scared, afraid, that may not be actually accurate to your present circumstances. Now, your present circumstances might resemble what you previously experienced. But again, if you're feeling the same feelings that you felt as a child's perception, their experience is going to be very different than if an adult is going through the same experience. That's why, as the adults, we're there to help the child regulate. Help the child to be able to feel safe. Help the child to know everything's going to be okay. When a child doesn't know that, they can easily become an adult who feels out of control and feels compounded emotions because they are feeling for the inner child. And so, I want to close by letting your inner child know that it's going to get better. It's going to get easier. You're not always going to feel so overwhelmed and scared. You're not going to always have to feel so anxious. You're going to get to know that life is actually really good. It's really beautiful. You're going to get to enjoy fun. And I'm here to help. So please reach out. And for sure, connect with me, set up a session so that we can walk through anything that you want, any memory, anything that's surfacing that you feel like you want to dive a little deeper into. Reach out to me and we can do that together. I am here for you. and I'm here to help you for the long haul. Talk soon. Hello, friends. I want to come today to talk to you about our inner child. Oh, even as I say that, I feel such compassion and such love for those of us who have been through traumatic events and still have unresolved trauma, especially if it occurred in your developmental years. I want your inner child to know that I am full of compassion and empathy for that part of yourself. A lot of times we're living present day in our adult bodies, and there's an echo of our past that is affecting and sometimes disrupting what's going on right now in the present. And I want to offer you an opportunity to create change, to start enjoying your life, feeling more at ease, more comfortable in your body, and safer. Even if you're in situations that otherwise might feel out of control, I want to help you know how to feel safe within your own body so you can be at ease, even in a situation that is out of control. And I want to do that. I want to show you how to do that by giving recognition to your inner child. And when I say inner child, I basically mean your younger self. So you've always lived within your body, and there is an echo of your past that affects your present day. For me, it shows up as sometimes me walking into a room of people and feeling very isolated and alone, even within the crowd. I may be very uncomfortable in that crowd. I may feel insecure and unsure about what other people think of me. And so that taints my perception. And I start to have an inner narrative going on within my own head, which makes me think other people dislike me or they misunderstand me. They perhaps have sized me up to be something that I'm not. And all of this is based off of my experiences from childhood. Experiences that I had where a parent figure or other adult that was important in my life didn't understand, didn't want to get to know me, didn't perhaps like who I innately was, wanted me to be something or someone different to fit a mold that they thought was the right mold. But we are all individuals. We are not meant to fit a mold and be a cookie cutter of someone else. You are meant to be your authentic self, who is an individual, unique and different than the next person. Beautiful and good in whatever form you are. And this is a message that I love to spread because I think it is so important. It's pivotal to our healing and our growth. It's so key to know how to be at ease within our body. We must embrace and accept who we authentically are. If I'm not able to appreciate the heart that I carry, the compassion that I have, the love for people that exudes out of me, then I'm not able to fully embrace who I am as Corrine. And for sure, we can change and become a bit different than we used to be. But there are parts to us that innately are us. We're not going to lose that as we change and as we become a different version of ourselves. Over the last 15 years, yes, I've changed a lot. And yet, there are parts of me that are still very much the same. And that'll be the case for you as well. So don't have any fear over that. I want you to know that your inner child gets to be safe when you come into a space with me. I'm not afraid of whatever it is that you're feeling, whatever it is you might have experienced. If you want to express that, then please send me an email, set up a coaching session with me, do whatever you need to do to contact me so that we can have time to talk about your own story, your experiences, and the feelings that you have. I sincerely care about whatever it is you're going through and whatever it is that you've been through. And I know enough to know that our past affects our present. And it's not about grin and bearing it. It's not about, oh, forget what's behind you and just look forward. In order to move forward and to feel good about living and to be able to thrive in life, you must look backwards. Not to sit there forever, but to be able to infuse love and compassion into places that are aching within you for that. If you weren't treated as you should have been in childhood, it doesn't need to be abuse. You didn't need to have abuse in your childhood. You could have experienced neglect or emotional abandonment when you needed someone to sit down and say, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? And if that didn't happen, you learned how to cope. You learned how to survive and get through, but that doesn't mean it was in a healthy way. And so there are many forms of trauma. There are many experiences within life that can be tragic and wound us at a heart level. And so looking backwards is actually to become more aware, to awaken parts of yourself that haven't been conscious to what really happened. As I have learned to let go of denial, and the more aware and conscious I've become, the more memories that I've recovered, that has not been a scary experience. It's actually felt really beautiful to me because I've been able to see myself as an infant or a 2-year-old. I'm able to see the little girl that I was, the beautiful little girl that I was with a beautiful heart. My heart has always been compassionate, in tune with others. For sure, we can adapt to our environment. And I know that I became hyper aware and vigilant because of the traumas that I experienced. But when I say in tune with people, if I see myself as a 2-year-old and I see that I was actually in tune, I was aware of how people were doing, I cared about how they were doing, my heart felt for them. Hello and welcome to my podcast, Empowered to Thrive. I'm your host, Corrine Powell. I'm an intuitive guide, and I absolutely love helping people to heal from within so that they can create a life that they love, a life that they enjoy. We weren't meant to just tolerate and get through life. We were meant to thrive and enjoy the life we're living. Of course, we will have seasons and moments that are difficult and challenging. And the beauty of it is that we can be supported in those moments. I am here to be an aid and a guide to support you. And I hope that you will enjoy not only today's episode, but some of the past episodes if you haven't heard them yet. On this podcast, I talk about all things inner wellness. We also sprinkle in some spirituality and parenting, because as a mom to 3 kids, parenting is a big part of my life. I hope that you enjoy the episode and that there's at least one thing you'll pull from it and start to implement into your own life. If you want to follow me in other ways, you can find me on Instagram, Corrine_Change Radically, or on Facebook, Change Radically. Would you do me a favor and share this podcast with your friends if you hear an episode that resonates with you? And would you also go ahead and give me a rating and review my podcast? It would mean so much to me, and I would appreciate it. I hope that you enjoy the episode and that we connect.